Jan Rahula has to be ultra fit though to hang on and take out this event. Let's check out the official magazine for the F1 series. Nicky Andronicus's dial is on the front page. A magnificent souvenir lift out in the middle, and it comes free with this month's edition, packed with competition profiles, superb action photography, race maps, TV guide. A chance to be part of this event, that is, by entering the New Balance F1 Fun Runs. Only 5K, anyone can do it. Details in the guide. The special Ultra Fit F1 edition backs the government's Active Australia campaign to get all Australians fit. Discover easy ways to turn yourself into a calorie-burning machine. Use the free voucher to have a body pump class and find out why Andrew Johns decided to race for Britain in 1998. Ultra Fit and St George F1 at your news agent right now.
Well, the four chasers have dropped time, I think, even more, but it generally happens on the bell lap. Mark Field, we've seen it so many times on the bell lap. All of a sudden, the chasing pack comes back at the leader. Now, Rahula's gap to these four is now at Mark Field.
Well, the group of four actually took a bit of time out of Jan Rahula there, so they must have suddenly thought, hey, let's get a move on. He's going off the front and we can't give him that much time. So they have closed the gap. Peter Robertson, he's the one I feel really sorry for. He looked in fantastic form and he's just out there in no man's land by himself in about 5th place at the moment, and he must have been affected by that crash. But as Brad Bevan says, one of the reasons why he has won 5 series is that he knows how to stay out of trouble. He always puts himself up near the front, same as Miles. Those guys never seem to get involved in crashes, and that's because they're always thinking about what they're doing.
Yes, it's become more and more technical. Phil Anderson said it, the bike courses being short and multi-looped. You just have to keep your wits about you. Craig Watson taking a turn in front of this chasing pack. Stewart, Hill and Bevan with him. They're the top. That's from 2nd to 5th, and just behind them somewhere, trying to catch up desperately, Peter Robertson. But he'd be in pain as well, having been part of that collision. But there's Jan Rahula gritting for 3Ks that he'll long remember, I'd imagine, one way or the other.
Yeah, the sweat dripping off him too. He's down in the aerodynamic position. We don't see that as often anymore, particularly, of course, in this tight and technical racing. The more traditional style is adopted by most of the guys.
Here they come at the top of your screen, chasing Jan Rahula down. We did say at one stage he had a half-minute lead. Now Watson doing the work.
And the Aussies
trying to get them into it.
The Aussies content to let the Kiwi go stay out in front as long as he can. There's Chris Hill going through. You see Miles there just sitting up, adjusting something in his uniform. Brad Bevan going through. Miles Stewart. They do seem to have organised themselves a little bit better. There's the bell lap. 1 lap to go.
And Rahula, can he hang on? How are those legs feeling right now? He's got to somehow get them to change.
Oh, look, I think the gap's gone further out. Mark Field down in transition.
Yeah, it certainly has. That lap, Jan Rahula put another 15 seconds back into what he had before. So his lead now on the last lap is bigger than it has been the whole time. And if Jan Rahula wins this thing, he will be the only international ever to win a race in the Formula One, apart from Spencer Smith. So we've only ever had Aussies, and Spencer Smith won an Olympic distance race back in, I think it was 95. So Jan Rahula here really giving it to him and giving it to the rest of Phil, and just showing that while they're great friends off the course, they get out here, and this series is going to be more aggressive. It's going to be harder racing than any year we've ever seen.
And talking about international athletes, it's Watson who's taken a break on the other 3 to try and get them up close to Rahula. Watson doing the work. He's been in front of this pack for a while, and he's desperately trying to make sure that Rahula doesn't get away. Bevan, Hill and Stewart is with him. There's a lap rider in that group there, so don't worry too much about that. But Jan Rahula, he did lose a bit of time on 1 lap there, but he's obviously cranked it up again. What a performance. Let's hope those legs, the muscles in those legs, can start gearing up for a totally different workload in the final 3 kilometres.
Oh, look, he'd be running on adrenaline, Bill. It never hurts when you're out in front, I can tell. Well, it never hurts as much anyway.
I wouldn't know about that. I've never had the feeling, but you would, Drags, of course.
It does hurt, but it doesn't hurt as much, and he'd be just on pure adrenaline at the moment. He would see that his lead is extended. Mark Field, you got any idea of the seconds that he's in front? Is it 30, 35? What's he up to?
It was about 35 seconds on that last bell lap, and as you say, he'll be running on adrenaline right now. We've seen what adrenaline can do. We've seen Peter Robertson, and he describes his win over Brad Bevan in one of the triple super sprint races as the greatest race of his career, and it can get you home. And now he's coming into transition, and Jan Rahula, who won the the Pilsner Cup in Czech Republic. That's a beer company. In fact, he's sponsored by a beer company. He doesn't seem to be drinking too much of it lately because he has a huge lead. He's coming into transition, and the other four are nowhere in sight.
Go Jan, this is amazing stuff. We're set for one of the biggest upsets in the history of this event. If he can hang on, get that shoe on there. And Jan Rahula is on his way. Let's see how the challenges go. They're just coming into screen now.
Fantastic performance from Rahula. I hope he hangs on and wins this because he deserves it. He's been off the front. He's been working hard. The other four have been looking at each other. That's their problem. They've been worried about each other and not taking a turn or taking a turn.
Well, in the context of the series, maybe that's the whole thing. Miles and Brad, they look at each other. They maybe think, Jan, okay, even if he wins this race in the context of the whole series, it's the points Stewart versus Bevan that they're concerned about. I don't know, but there's Miles first out. There's Brad taking off as well, and Chris Hill still looking strong. That's the man they have to catch, Jan Rahula, and he looks pretty good too.
He certainly does. It's 6 laps here, 500 metres a lap, total of 3 kilometres, and if Rahula hangs on here, it will be the greatest win of his career and one of the biggest upsets in world triathlon, Mark Fuel.
Well, Miles Stewart there had the transition out of the group. Chris Hill was second out, but they're not that far in front of the second group that's coming in now. Greg Bennett and Chris McCormick have been pulling that pack. So I think while they were watching each other, the third pack now has made up time. They're only about 20 seconds behind. Greg Bennett is there. I can see Andrew Johns is still going despite bleeding. Peter Robertson is there. Courtney Atkinson, Mark Lees, Benjamin Sanson, and they are chasing hard.
Craig Watson, as you can see, just scrambling onto the back of those 3 chasers. He lost a bit of time in transition. Transition time critical in this type of event. It's very short and fast, and you can pinch a couple of metres if you're just a little bit slow. Hill is second there, ahead of Bevan, and then Watson and Miles Stewart. But there is the leader, Jan Rahula. Can he hang on? He doesn't look too bad. He doesn't look like he's blowing up yet, Mark Dragon.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at him past it, from our viewpoint up here, and he is actually running quite well. He looks strong. His form's good. He's going quite quickly. He's just gone past Mark Fuel, and he can see him out there. Looks pretty good, Fuely.
Yeah, he's running smoothly, but I tell you what, he is hurting. I think that bike ride did hurt him, but he is running well. He's got 35 seconds now lead on the other guys. It's Brad Bevan and Miles Stewart still looking very comfortable, and Craig Watson, Chris Hill is the one who's dropping off, and they're now lapping other competitors.
Well, there's 6 laps on this run. We've only had one of them, but if Jan can hold on for that one lap, he's obviously kept his lead for that one lap, so gee, those other 5 are going to look like a long way for him. To a normal triathlete, 3K is nothing, but it's going to be the longest 3K of Jan's life. And Brad, you can see in that previous shot, was taking the group on. He was challenging and working hard. Miles typically not letting Brad get away from him. There they are. Miles, in fact, is in front of Brad now. Must be feeling pretty good to do that. Craig Watson is with them there. They're a bunch among a bunch of lapped athletes. Chris Hill is struggling now. He's dropped back into 5th place and is a couple of metres behind Craig Watson.
Well, if you take a line through everybody's running form, you'd say that Jan Rahula's got the best form. He looks the most comfortable to me. Miles Stewart looks next best, but certainly Rahula looks very comfortable. Here he is now on screen, and there's no wasted energy. There's no lack of form. He looks pretty good.
This will be quite a remarkable feat if he can pull it off. The strides aren't shortening too much yet.
Mark Fuel will get a split for us here as Rahula goes past the start-finish line.
Jan is looking really good, I can tell you. He's running smoothly, and as the others come across, but Peter Robertson is currently in 6th place, and he's making a charge from that second group. Chris Hill has dropped off the back of that 3, so we've got 3 chasing Jan Rahula, Brad Bevan, Miles Stewart, and Craig Watson, but Jan's lead is 30 seconds.
Yes, the big man in the back of the screen there, Lothar Leder from Germany, is a lap down. Lothar is a very accomplished long-distance triathlete, but he's sharpening up on shorter distances here in this series. And Chris Hill dropping off the pace a bit. There's every chance Peter Robertson could actually get in the top 5 if he can put in the sort of sprinting that we know he's capable of. Chris seems to be struggling just a little bit. Not this man, Jan Rahula, looking good, quite composed in his style. Look at Craig Watson, he's been another great performer here today. He's still with Stewart and Bevan. Not many athletes have been able to do that in the past 5 years.
Craig Watson is a very, very good runner. Don't make any mistake about it. He is very quick, and he has actually had very poor transitions and managed to get back on virtually every time. So it indicates that he is a very accomplished runner. We've seen that. He wouldn't be New Zealand national champion if he wasn't. But it's Rahula we're looking at on screen here. Obviously hurting, a little bit of a grimace on the face, but the form's still there. That's what I like. The form and the leg turnover is still there. Still looks like he's running high in his hips and looks very strong to me.
So can Jan Rahula hang on? Slowly but surely the laps are ticking down. And in pursuit, Bevan, Stewart, Craig Watson, strong, based for 6 months of the year in France. Craig Watson, he speaks French fluently and has been racing professionally in Europe since 1994. Watson, no stranger to top-level competition, but this is his first F1 series. There he is in the black there, just about to sneak past Brad Bevan. He, Bevan, and that man on the right of his screen, Stewart, racing together. Lothar Leader of Germany is a lap down, I remind you, in that group of four.